Hello and welcome to Homer for Sunday, November 2nd, 2025. Today we are going to be reading from lines 17 to 31 in book 13 of the Iliad. It's going to be a great read and we're going to talk about mountains. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and let's get right into it. Immediately he went down the rugged mountain, striding with swift footsteps, and the high mountains and the woodland trembled beneath the immortal feet of Poseidon as he went. 3 strides he took as he went, and with the 4th stride he reached his goal, Iliad, where his famous palace was built in the depths of the sea, golden and gleaming, imperishable forever. There he came, and harnessed beneath his chariot his 2 bronze-hoofed horses, swift of flight, with flowing manes of gold. And with gold he clad himself without his body, and grasped the well-made whip of gold, and stepped into his chariot, and set out to drive over the waves. Then gamboled the sea beasts beneath him on every side out of the deeps, for well they knew their lord, and in gladness the sea parted before him. Very swiftly they sped on, and the axle of bronze was not wetted beneath. And to the ships of the Achaeans did the prancing steeds bring him. Great, let's do it in the Greek. Altikadextoreos katabes topai paloentos. Kreipnopos probibas emedurea macra caihule. Posinu bad anatoisi posedao annos iontos. Tris menarex et ion de tetraton hieketotecmor. Aigasen tadevoi glutadoma tabentes ilimnes. Crosser marmaron tatetauchatai aftitaie. En tauton vocas vititus getocauchopod hippo. Ocupatacus esit etheres in comonte. Cus andautos edune pericrorigento dimaslen. Cruceien autuctone uapibas utodifru. Edalan epicua matatal de catapupautu. Pantotenecas maunua degnoies imonacta. Gavasune de talassa de istatotoi de petonto. Rimfamagur ponerte di aineto calcaeos axon. Tonne secaion neias stauscarth moe perodippoi. Amazing. I hope you, bear with me as I try to do my melodicizations of the dactylic hexameter. I think even without the lyre, it's important to give it a shot, right? And try to put as much musical value into each of the lines as one can. Because we have a very real, well, not that real, obviously it's a work of a god here, but we have a very serious action going on here, numbers-wise. Zeus is number 1. We started the book with Zeus. Poseidon is number 2. He takes 3 strides, and on the 4th he reaches his goal. Iliad, right? I don't know how you want to pronounce it in English. So he arrives in the depths at his famous palace. And how does one get to this famous palace, right? Well, enjoy the sea parts, and the dolphins follow after him, the sea creatures. I looked into the commentary on this, and apparently the sea creatures that are described, the kata, right? Katahupautu. So these katea, right? They are definitely dolphins. So they're not, the whales of other stories, not that sort of monster. Although when we hear catology, like Herman Melville, when we hear about whales in general, we think of katoi, right? But the katea, right? So the various whales here are all dolphins, right? Bedalan epikumata, right? So he drives them across the water, right? Across the waves. The axle is still dry the entire time, which is miraculous. when the other chariots drive through the mud, for instance, they get very, very dirty in the Iliad. So this is remarkable that the axle is maintained, it's clear. It's almost hesiotic, actually, in describing the sort of basicness of function of the axle and how it's good for it to be clean, you know, and how a god is able to avoid that. But I think it's so profound that they're headed to a palace, and the journey to the palace is done by the waters parting. Surely this reminds us of other myths. I think also the enunciation of gold on these two lines, 25 and 26, Cruson dautos edune perikroi, right? So he puts gold upon himself, Crusein nautukton, right? And then also, you know, he has the well-made whip of gold, himaslen, right? This sense of valuableness, the idea of gold, not just because I'm looking at a beautiful autumn gold tree right now and we're in a slightly golden room, but I feel that metaphors and images of gods, clean axles, is the gold of the Iliad in function. And thinking of the epitome of excellence, like one would describe gold as being, for instance, Plato's idea of the golden soul, the golden gods and their golden whips and their golden clothing. And in the epitomization of that perfection, there is also the alleviation of the sea in order to make room for the god to pass. I feel that finding the ways in which Homer excels certain things past one another, you know, he brings things to different watermarks of excellence. This is a really fascinating examination, and I feel that we have it here. Anyway, my question for you at the end of this episode of the Homer YouTube channel is, what is the par excellence of gold in your life? And if you don't know what that gold is, what's the criteria that you think would be good for classifying it? And if you find that gold, what are you doing to protect it and to make it a part of every part of your life? Thank you so much for listening to the Homer YouTube channel today, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye.